Welcome back to the Scripture Journey channel, where faith and mystery converge. Those of us who dedicate ourselves to sacred texts and the riches of theology have certainly encountered thought-provoking questions and profound mysteries. Among these, few spark as much curiosity as the gigantic dinosaurs, whose fossils reveal that a colossal world once existed under the very skies we know today. But here arises an intriguing question. What do dinosaurs have to do with the Bible? Could they be present, perhaps hidden within the narratives of Scripture? Science tells us that these creatures roamed the earth millions of years ago and that their extinction was caused by a meteor that forever changed the planet. But is that explanation sufficient? Were dinosaurs truly left out of the biblical narrative, or is there something deeper concealed within the lines of Scripture? In this video, we'll explore these questions and uncover fascinating connections between science, faith, and the mystery of the dinosaurs. Stick around until the end, because I'll reveal surprising details that may transform the way you view divine creation. In the year 1825, a time when science was just beginning to take its first steps toward understanding Earth's distant past, a quiet corner of England became the stage for a groundbreaking discovery. Archaeologists, working with their rudimentary tools, carefully excavated the soil. Beneath the dust and layers of earth, something emerged that no one could have foreseen, the remains of a gigantic creature, the iguanodon. At that moment, the world changed forever. Those bones told a story that seemed to challenge everything previously known, a story of a time so distant that it barely fit within human comprehension. The implications of this discovery were profound. Up until then, the dominant understanding of Earth's history was based on simple, linear interpretations. However, the emergence of these fossils shed new light on the traditional narrative of creation. How could these colossal creatures, seemingly from another world, have walked the very same ground we tread today? They were undeniable evidence that the planet was older, more mysterious, and far more complex than anyone had imagined. This discovery wasn't just about science, it was about rewriting humanity's understanding of history. As the dust from the excavations settled, the cultural impact began to take shape. Scientists and theologians found themselves grappling with an unexpected dilemma. How could these creatures, the dinosaurs, be reconciled with a world shaped by spiritual beliefs and millennia-old traditions? While scientists began formulating hypotheses about their extinction, the public sought more than just natural explanations. They yearned for meaning. There was something almost supernatural about the grandeur of these beings, something that seemed to demand more than scientific answers. It called for a greater interpretation, perhaps even a divine one. It wasn't long before questions began to arise. Where did dinosaurs fit within the order of creation described in Scripture? Were they inhabitants of a primordial Earth shaped before the arrival of humanity? Could they be part of the world that God declared good? The book of Genesis, with its rich imagery and metaphors, was revisited with fresh eyes, searching for clues that might shed light on these majestic creatures. It was as though the fossils themselves were speaking, yet their message remained hidden. With each new fossil unearthed, the mystery only deepened. Science sought to fill the gaps with theories about evolution and extinction, while faith attempted to understand the purpose of these creatures within divine creation. Yet there was one thing both fields could agree on. These giants were not merely fossilized rocks. They were fragments of a larger story, echoes of a world that in some inexplicable way felt connected to us. Thus, the pages of Genesis begin to emerge as the next step in this journey of discovery. Before humanity's arrival, Earth was a vast and majestic stage, inhabited by awe-inspiring creatures that reflected the richness of divine creation. In Genesis 1:24-25, the biblical narrative describes the moment God commanded the land to bring forth life, wild animals according to their kinds. The Hebrew text uses the word taninim, referring to great sea monsters, titanic beings that inhabited the primordial oceans. These often overlooked details reveal a fascinating aspect of the creation account, the acknowledgement of an immense fauna that spanned from the seas to the land. In ancient Hebrew culture, the Taninim were not just poetic figures, but tangible entities symbolizing both the vastness and the sovereignty of God over all creation. For readers of the time, these creatures were not merely symbolic. They represented divine power and control over even the wildest and most untamable aspects of nature. It's intriguing to consider that the fossils of gigantic creatures discovered in modern times might be the very same beings that inspired these millennia-old descriptions, bridging ancient times with our present. The wild animals described in the sacred text not only existed but also played specific roles within the perfect ecosystem created by God. They were not random creatures. Each was designed to fulfill a purpose, whether in the food chain, ecological balance, or preparing the environment for humanity's arrival. Fossil studies indicate that enormous species roamed the depths of the oceans, as well as the plains and forests of the ancient world, dominating their habitats with an awe-inspiring presence that still fascinates us today. The description of the Taninim also underscores the intrinsic connection between Scripture and the natural world. In Hebrew, the emphasis lies on their magnitude, reflecting a world still unexplored and untamed. Over the centuries, biblical interpreters have debated whether these beings might include prehistoric creatures, such as dinosaurs, or entirely unknown forms of life. The absence of detailed specifics in Scripture leaves room for rich interpretations and for the notion that these creatures were intentionally designed for a specific time and purpose. Few biblical passages spark as much fascination and mystery as the descriptions of Behemoth and Leviathan in the book of Job. Behemoth, introduced in Job 40:15-24, is portrayed as an unparalleled land creature. "Look at Behemoth, which I made along with you. It eats grass like an ox." But this is no ordinary herbivore. Its bones are described as tubes of bronze, and its tendons as rods of iron. This colossal creature has the strength to move rivers and a size so immense it dominates even vast landscapes. It's impossible to ignore the resemblance between this description and the gigantic sauropods, herbivorous dinosaurs like the Brachiosaurus, whose massive frames and grazing habits vividly echo the image of Behemoth. On the other hand, Leviathan, described in Job 41, embodies the untamable power of the seas. This creature doesn't merely rule the waters, it inspires terror. Who can confront Leviathan and emerge unscathed, the text asks. Leviathan is depicted as a being with impenetrable scales, fire-breathing capabilities, and a presence so fearsome that even the bravest warriors recoil in dread. Could this be a memory of great prehistoric marine reptiles like the Plesiosaurus, or even gigantic crocodiles? Its traits, blending natural and supernatural elements, suggest a grandeur beyond human comprehension. The connection between these biblical creatures and dinosaurs is not hard to imagine. Behemoth, with its monumental size and ability to shape the landscape, evokes the image of sauropods, which roamed vast lands and required immense quantities of vegetation to survive. Leviathan, with its impenetrable scales and mastery of the seas, echoes descriptions of great prehistoric aquatic predators like the Mosasaurus. Both are more than their physical size. They are testaments to the complexity and majesty of divine creation, reminders that God governs even the wildest and most untamable aspects of the natural world. By including such detailed descriptions of these creatures, the Bible seems to tap into a sense of wonder and awe that transcends time. Ancient peoples, encountering the fossils of gigantic creatures or witnessing unusual natural phenomena, could easily have incorporated these experiences into their accounts of Behemoth and Leviathan. Indeed, these beings may have served as visible reminders of God's creative power, representing not just brute strength, but also the intricacy and balance that permeate creation. Yet there's something even deeper in this narrative. Behemoth and Leviathan are not merely symbols of power, they are living proofs of God's supreme authority over all that exists. These giants didn't just exist. They challenged human understanding and became living metaphors that no matter how vast and powerful creation might be, the Creator is greater still. The layers of fossils scattered across the world tell an intriguing story, but science often interprets this narrative disconnected from biblical accounts. The extinction of dinosaurs is widely attributed to the impact of a massive asteroid, which is said to have caused a cataclysmic event, transforming the planet into a frozen wasteland for years. But what if instead this evidence of destruction pointed to the biblical flood? The connection between scientific accounts and faith may seem like a broken bridge, but it might conceal surprising answers. The asteroid impact theory proposes a global winter that wiped out the dinosaurs and drastically altered ecosystems. However, the sedimentary layers housing dinosaur fossils show clear signs of rapid flooding, with remains amassed in conditions that suggest sudden burial. The flood narrative aligns seamlessly with these findings. While science looks to the heavens for the source of destruction, the Bible invites us to look to the waters and understand an event that was both physical and spiritual. At the heart of this discussion lies the question, why do science and faith seem to tell different stories about the same past? In truth, these two perspectives can complement each other. Science describes the physical mechanisms, the movement of waters, the impact of natural forces, while faith explains the greater purpose behind them. In the case of dinosaurs, fossils are not just evidence of extinction, but also testimonies to a global event that transformed the planet according to divine will. The narrative of the flood doesn't exclude scientific discoveries, but expands their interpretation. The idea that the planet underwent a period of devastation, followed by renewal, aligns with what we observe in the fossil record. Altered climates, reshaped ecosystems, and species extinctions are precisely what one would expect after such a cataclysmic event. The global winter might have been the prolonged consequence of the flood, a time of planetary adjustment as the world reorganized itself for humanity's future. This convergence of science and faith challenges the notion that these fields are in conflict. On the contrary, they are two sides of the same coin, revealing the complexity and majesty of creation. Across cultures worldwide, stories of dragons and giant creatures emerge as part of ancient mythologies. In China, dragons were seen as powerful and benevolent beings, controllers of rain and protectors of the people. In India, the Nagas, divine serpents, were revered as guardians of great secrets. In the Americas, Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, was worshipped as a creator deity. These intriguing accounts raise a fascinating question. Could these legends be ancestral memories of dinosaurs passed down through the centuries as stories and myths? Fossils may have played a crucial role in the origin of these legends. Ancient civilizations that unearthed giant bones could easily have interpreted them as remnants of dragons or mythical creatures. Imagine a farmer discovering the massive skull of a triceratops. Without modern paleontological knowledge, it would be natural to associate such a discovery with beings that dominated both the land and the collective imagination. These physical proofs would reinforce the stories, solidifying the idea that dragons and dinosaurs could be the same phenomenon viewed through different lenses. In the medieval world, accounts of dragons were abundant and detailed, often depicting them as creatures inhabiting caves or remote forests. These descriptions reflect characteristics that might be attributed to dinosaurs if they had coexisted with humans in a distant past. While modern science does not support the idea of temporal coexistence, the persistence of these myths suggests that cultural memory may have preserved traces of indirect contact, perhaps through fossils unearthed and interpreted as evidence of living creatures. Dragons also held symbolic roles in the cultures that revered them. In European traditions, they were often associated with chaos and evil, while in Eastern cultures they symbolized wisdom and prosperity. This duality mirrors how dinosaurs might have been perceived, as both fearsome beings and marvels of creation. In their attempts to understand the natural world, ancient peoples attributed meanings to these creatures that transcended their physical existence, transforming them into symbols of power and mystery. The Psalms invite us to reflect on the greatness of creation. How many are your works, Lord? In wisdom you made them all. The earth is full of your creatures. Psalm 104:24. This passage describes the vast diversity of God's creation, including immense sea creatures mentioned in the following verses. In light of this, we might ask, could dinosaurs also be part of this grand design, not just as colossal beings of the past, but as elements of a transitional creation, a prelude to the human world that was to come? Some theologians suggest that dinosaurs may have played a significant role in preparing the environment for humanity. Over millions of years, these creatures shaped ecosystems, contributed to the balance of habitats, and even aided in the formation of natural resources that sustain human life today. The cycle of creation and extinction, so evident in geological history, can be seen as a reflection of divine wisdom, where every creature, large or small, has a specific purpose in a greater plan. These prehistoric giants were not mere biological accidents. Their existence and extinction point to a deeper purpose, aligned with the transient nature of certain phases of divine creation. In his infinite wisdom, God used dinosaurs to prepare the world for humanity, transforming the planet into a habitable place rich with resources. As Scripture suggests, the Creator wastes nothing. Everything has a reason, even when that reason lies beyond our immediate understanding. As we reflect on the role of dinosaurs in creation, it's impossible to ignore the connection between science and theology. Science provides us with details about how these creatures lived and vanished, while faith helps us understand why. For believers, dinosaurs are not just fossils or puzzles of the past. They are part of a greater testimony, a reminder of God's majesty in every aspect of his creation. The journey through the mysteries of dinosaurs and their connection to the Bible reveals how grand and intricate divine creation truly is. But this is just one part of what remains to be explored. What did you think of this connection between science and faith? Leave your thoughts in the comments and share your reflections. They might inspire others to see creation in a new light. I invite you to watch the video appearing on your screen now. Each one explores more mysteries and fascinating stories from Scripture, deepening your understanding even further. Share this video with your friends and family so they too can uncover these secrets. May God bless you. See you soon.